So the teaching this week is naso. And what the word naso means is to count. I always seem to get the census once. I did another one, it was TISA, and that was another census. And I did that one, and this one I'm doing it again. Not the same one, but it's another one. I'm going to put these on because I need them. I might have to do this, so on the far side I can see good far, but not good, so good up close. Well, as you read the first part with that right there, Tim, can you hand that?
Yes.
Those. Thank you. Numbers 4:21 talks about the census of the sons of Gershon. Okay. Now, when I first heard or read or heard about the sons of Gershon, the Gershonites, I had to recall my memory. Where have I heard that word before? And then I remember the movie Toy Soldiers. And they have this little guy, about the yay big, and he's a what is it? He's not a Gershonite. He's a what is he? He's a Gorgonite. Good job. Anyway, I always picture that the same, and something was going on in my mind that there was always something about. That was kind of interesting, and he's got a get up, and he was kind of a meek person. He was kind of average person, not very strong, just a meek individual in the movie. And it's just a similar picture in my mind of what the Gershonites might be. I don't know. They were warriors, yes, but they were also Levites. Anyway, the Parashat Naso has 5 main themes: the Levitical duties of the Gershonites, purification of the camp, the Sota, which is dealing with a woman suspected of unfaithfulness by her husband, and all the things that are involved with that, and then the Nazirite vow with Samson, and the priestly blessings. So that's that part. Now I already told you about that, the duties. Okay. It's good to know that the Gershonites and the Gorgonites are not the same. And how the duties are very extensive and detailed of the Gershonites. Very. And of the Levites, they're beyond what we could, as a human, could really know all the things that we have to do. Like if anybody serves in this congregation, to set the coffee and the this and that, and set up the chairs and the tables, set up the pictures. Everything is pretty much easy. But for them, there were so many things for them to do that it was quite a burden. And that's what it calls it, quite a burden in the reading. So, okay, this is another part of, though I'm not a scholar, I have read through the Tanakh several times, enough to be overwhelmed by the numbers of laws and details that apply to life. In reference to today's teaching, the law of jealousy is in this portion. That's the one about if a man should suspect his wife. It is a story of a husband suspecting his wife of adultery. He is instructed to go to the temple, and the priest will gather dust from the floor of the tabernacle, mix it in a glass of water, where she shall drink it. And somehow, she is to drink the water, and the result would either convict her or acquit her of her adultery. Only God could possibly know how to do this. There are many instructions in the Torah to direct and conduct our lives. Many have been discovered, and so many have yet to be discovered. And so many. And I am often overwhelmed by all the laws and instructions of the Torah. 613 laws of the Torah. Wow. I don't think I could count that high until I was 12 years old. Or maybe 11, to give myself some credit. I am of the belief that God's laws were as effective as the laws of physics, gravity, science, etc. Blessings and curses of our faith are as real as the elements of matter. A chemist uses the elements of the world and mixes them to create new substances, sometimes good, sometimes not so good. The sons of Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, mistook the instructions of the tabernacle as suggestions and died because they brought unholy fire before the Lord. And this was written in Leviticus 10, 1 and 2, and died on the spot. All the result of mishandling the laws of God. I guess that reference could have been an example of disrespecting the laws of God and failing under a curse, falling under a curse. I have a hard time reading my own writing. The Levites had duties that were many and sometimes complex. But no one person was responsible to carry or do all of the duties. Compartmentalization. Wow, what a hefty word. But it carries much of the load of the individual. Now, the Haftarah is the story of the Nazarite vow and all its details. Manoah, Samson's father and mother, actually were told by an angel of the Lord of his wife's pregnancy. It is an example of true prenatal care. Yeah. Can you imagine that if prenatal care was done like that in modern era and in this day and age, how much different things would be? Not saying we have a bunch of Samsons, but just saying that God considers prenatal care a big deal. Yeah. It has been 3,476 years since the establishment of the Levitical priesthood, and it operated for about 1,500 years till the Romans destroyed the Second Temple in 70 AD of the Common Era. You know, I'm still old school, so I'm more likely to say AD than CE. Anyway, that's just me. Why in the year 2026, many believers, whether Christian or Messianic, can be overwhelmed by all the biblical rules and laws, details and instructions, etc., etc. Please don't mistake what I'm saying. I am not dismissing the Torah or writings. I say it is all valid. All of 613 laws, some apply to women, some apply to men, some apply to agriculture practices. Many. So they're all diversified. So any one individual, not all the 613 commandments might apply to you. So it's much less overwhelming than we might think. Not so. The laws of the Torah are the laws of creation. God is the creator of the universe. Did you know in this teaching, I found out that there are 2 acts of creation? And it kind of blew my mind. First one, of course, in the beginning is Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That's the big creation. But then it says in Genesis 1:27. Let's see if I can find that real quick. That's the first page. I showed you easy to find. I'm going to lose it here pretty soon. So Keith told me I had to have all this prepared, but I'm not prepared. I'm old school and proud of it. Anyway, first page of the Old Testament. This one, I do have to use these. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And so the earth was without form and void. So that's where he created all matter. And then in verse 27, let's go back to verse 26. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. So I heard it taught one time that God created man from the dust of the earth, from the soil, and he formed him and he made him. He made man. And of course, he made Eve from the rib of man. We've all heard the story. But it was taught that man was made and woman was created. Actually, they changed the word a little bit when they taught it. That man was made, but woman was crafted. Like you have a woman that's more beautiful than a man. So she was not just made, like thrown together like hump of dirt, but she was artistically crafted. So that's the way they taught it in that era, and in that way. But I looked at this, and on the way down here, I had to rethink about it. And what was created on the sixth day, I believe, well, I could be wrong, but I just want to speculate that. I'm going to read it again. So God created man in his own image. So what did he create? He had already created the body of man, the physical body. The part that he created was a spiritual body and put it in man. That's the part that didn't exist yet. And he created that part. And that's the part that had to be created beyond the creation of the universe. So that's why I think there's 2 points of creation that God had done. And that's the importance of who God is in this day. In this day, we have all the things of this world and all the universe, and they look at this world as just a speck in the universe. But the Torah says the earth is his footstool. Yeah. So if the earth is his footstool, all of the universe, the center, focus, I don't know about them, is the earth, and it's his footstool. So that's the part that just blew my mind. And ought to blow all our minds, because he not only created the universe, he created us as a spiritual mind. Without the spirit, we're just a zombie. Right. We have nothing to us, but we have an eternal life. And that's what he created on the sixth day. It was easy for him to create a body, a hair, eyes, because he had done this so many times in all the animals and in the birds, the fish. So that was going to be the simple part. But he created us, the spirit being, and separate from all other creation. Anyway, I just wanted to share that little bit with you. Okay, where was I? Okay, the Levites had duties that were many and sometimes complex, but no one. Okay, I can read that. Now the Haftarah is the story of the Nazarite. Let's read that. Okay, 3, 4, 6, 6. Why in the year 20? Okay, sorry everybody. Okay. Many say the Old Testament has been done away with because of the cross, the sacrifice that was complete in Jesus, Yeshua. Not so. The laws of the Torah are the laws of creation. God is the creator of the universe. Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, the created heavens and the earth. Elohim created all from nothing to something. Mankind, scientists, engineers, doctors, etc., can only rearrange what has already been created. Yeah. Every known substance on the periodical table of elements was made by the creator of the universe. I looked up creation, and there are 2 creation events. I just told you that. That's the one I just told you about. Okay. Everything that has been made, crafted, copied, built, repaired, healed, born, hatched, reconstituted, dehydrated, homogenized, and pasteurized, all those things have already been created from the beginning of the universe. They're just things that have been This is where things, for me, come full circle. I'm standing up here in front of about 20 people here. And full circle for me was 1999 or 2000. I was involved with missions mostly as a carpenter, working in project building construction in Mexico, Juarez, Monterrey, Mexico City. I gave my time and money to help churches in those cities. When I was in Monterrey, Mexico, the pastor decided I was to go preach at the mission. So I was told I was going to teach in the inner city. The next day I was sent. I had no idea what I was going to teach. I was not prepared. I sought the Lord and I was given Philippians 4:4 through 9 through 11. And 4 through 11. The mission was a place for drug addicts and alcoholics. What an experience that was. I had never preached before, nor did I want to. But what I tried to do was to teach. So this story is that I ended up going to this place in Monterrey, Mexico. And I was very surprised by it. It was, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a drug addiction facility. And it was a place with about 40 men. And I went in that place, and there were people there that most of them were drug addicted to cheap drugs. And cheap drugs were paint, gasoline, things that really fried people's brains, and alcohol. There were people that were missing legs. They had extended livers. It was a very eye-opening experience for me. But I had to preach and teach them something, and teach them, and hopefully I had something to say to them, because I had no experience or identification with any of them, because they were They were in the down and out. And I pretty much grew up on a farm in New Mexico and really had never been exposed to such a thing. So I sought the Lord, and he gave me Philippians 4:1-11. And if, Tom, do you have that up? Huh? 4:1-11. I can read from here. Yes? No? And this comes to the point of what Tim said a few minutes ago. You have it? No? Oh, here. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say, rejoice. Let your gentleness be known, and be anxious for nothing. But in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts through Christ Yeshua. Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue and there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things, the things which you learned and received and heard and saw in me. These do, and the God of peace will be with you. But I rejoiced in the Lord greatly. Now, at last, your care for me has flourished again. Though you surely did care, but you lacked opportunity. Not that I speak in regard to need, for I have learned in whatever state I am to be content. Now, the first thing that I was going to do today was read Numbers 4:21, and it has all the commandments and the duties of the Gershonites. And I know I kind of gave Tom and Jill a long reading to read from the Olam. And I'm sorry you struggled there, Tom. But it was long. But that's just a small portion of the readings, because this portion is the biggest portion of all the portions all year round. Because it has so many details of the Levitical order, of the census, of all the laws that are involved, all the details that are involved, and it tells a story of the Gershonites all the way to all the brothers of Aaron's sons, and it's just packed full of information. And they're all commandments. There's 613 of them. So
some of these, just let me know what you need.
I'm sorry?
I said, let me know what you need.
Okay. When I taught over there in Mexico, I had to do it all in Spanish. I'm not completely fluent in Spanish, but I did the best I could. And I read from a Spanish Bible. I talked to them in Spanish, and I was received pretty well, at least I thought, in my mind. And it kind of surprised me that I could do it, because it was kind of an act of faith on my part. What I tried to do was teach. Even though I had to do all this, there were about 40 men there. I attempted to teach. I had led a Bible I had led Bible studies and facilitated classes, but never had I expected to preach, teach in another country. It was an out-of-body experience. Now, this is where I want to read Philippians 4. Okay, I already read that. Nowhere in the readings does it contradict this scripture of where it talks about think on these things. Nowhere does it contradict Torah. Nowhere does it come against the laws of Torah. And there are a few scriptures I want to read also. In addition to that, and that was Acts. That was pretty quick. I didn't think I'd do that quickly. So this is what I had for today. Now I had a lot of other references and stuff that I brought together and stuff, but now I can't pull it out because I didn't know I'd go through that fast. I was supposed to read all these scriptures to you, the whole reading. That was supposed to spend the whole time, but I'm not going to burden you with it because they're so long. Because if you've read Numbers and Exodus and Leviticus, it's just countless counting and numbers and do this and do this, do this in this way, do this before you do that. And it's so overwhelming. But if we think about what we're supposed to do as believers, and what are we supposed to do? I had another scripture, and I forgot where it was, but it was the fruits of the Spirit. Fruits of the Spirit are the 7 fruits of things that we should be doing. And the one that I just spoke of, which was Acts 4:11. These things we're supposed to think of. So those are New Testament commandments in a way that fulfill the Old Testament. So if we follow the fruits of the Spirit and the things we should be thinking of, we fulfill the law. Because there's nothing in the law that contradicts what the fruits of the Spirit are. There's no contradiction where, this doesn't work. Maybe there's some things that we no longer have to do. Let's say the guilt offerings and the tabernacle offerings, but we don't have a tabernacle that we're supposed to report to every 3 times a year because we're still in the wilderness. Even here in Pinehurst, Texas, we're still in the wilderness. Wherever you live here, we're in the wilderness. The only people that are in Jerusalem or in Israel are the people in Israel. Everybody outside of Israel is in the wilderness. We're part of the diaspora. And it's not until Yeshua returns us to where we're supposed to be and to what his plan is in the 7th millennium, where he can show us all the areas that we do not understand about how do we do this, how do you do that, how do we count the moon, how do we do this. He's going to straighten all those gray areas out. And then we'll be all one. Because he's the one that created the law. He is the law. He is the epitome of the word. Like it says in John 1:1. And we all know that. He was the law, and the word was with them. And you know what I'm talking about. And he is the law made flesh. And that's how he was able to fulfill it. And that's what I have for you. I hope you enjoyed it, and that's what I have. I'm not a preacher or anything like that, but that's what I got for y'all. Thank you.